So duality is anything imaginable that could be split into a polarity, here and there, now and then, me and you, night and day, feminine, masculine. And non-duality is proposing that there aren't actually two. That whole reality is being challenged. There's no such thing as non-duality, because things are part of a dualistic paradigm which isn't real. So essentially, non-duality is nothing. And the suggestion also is that that's all there is, that's everything. If all there is nothing, there's no thing to know that there's nothing. There just is nothing apparently happening, which is absolutely all there is. The self never finds the self, because there isn't actually a self to find. So the notion that you, as a separate individual, could attain enlightenment is a fool's errand. You can't get enlightenment when this enlightenment or freedom is absolutely everything. It's more obvious than obvious. It's closer than close. There is just this absolute unconditional totality. It's so freer than free.
Are you ready to question what you believe you know? Dear friend of philosophy, welcome to the Key Philosophy Quest. I am the Doctor of Philosophy, Helmut Mons, and I invite you to join me on the quest of asking the key questions of philosophy. In this episode of the Key Philosophy Quest, I have philosophical questions for Alexis Knight. She is a speaker on non-duality from the UK. I met her in Vietnam. Let's hear what Alexis has to say. Alexis,
Hey.
thank you so much for doing this with us, with me. So you are a speaker on non-duality, flying around the world, speaking about non-duality. What is that? Let's start with what is duality, and then we go into non-duality.
Well, duality simply means two, and so non-duality is not two. So duality is anything imaginable that could be split into a polarity. For example, here and there, now and then, me and you, night and day, feminine, masculine. And non-duality is proposing that there aren't actually two. There's not really a here and there, me and you, now, then, so on. Yeah.
What's the relevance for me as a human being? I've been born, so then I will also die. Is that the thing that comes in? It's a two-sided coin that kind of.
Yeah, so for many, it would seem for many organisms, there's just what's happening. There's just what's appearing to happen. There's no knowing going on. There's no separation going on. But it would seem for human organisms that a sense of separateness comes in. It's like the organism has this experience of feeling separate, and out of that would seem to grow a dualistic reality, which is illusory. The suggestion is that that's illusory. So there's no one actually having a real separate experience of being a person.
Okay, so I pick up on seeming. It appears there is duality going on, and you just spoke about separation. So I assume duality needs to have a separation. So there's a cut, and only with this cut can I have those twos.
Right, yeah. So for there to be two, there has to be separation. Without two, no separation. So the separate reality would seem to be experienced as a personal one. I am a person. I am a separate person that is having a real life and a personal experience. And out of that, all these other things seem to appear.
So I am a person. I think there's me over here. Then there is the separation, the cut. So then on the other side of that cut, there is then not me.
There's no other side without two still. So for there to be sides, there still has to be a duality. So what can't be comprehended is that there are no sides, and there already isn't really a person. So that whole reality of it feeling like there's a separate person is being challenged, really. Not deliberately, not with the intention to make something change, but that whole reality is being challenged.
we talk about seeming, how it seems to be, and we
Yes.
say, okay, there's some sort of duality going on, there's a split, so on. But then if we look at that seeming, how it seems to be, and investigate deeper, then we would see.
Well, there's no one to step outside of duality. So there's no experience that could step outside of separation and then know that. So that's the predicament for that experience that wants to know, because knowing confirms that there's a knower and a known thing. So that's subject object, which is two. So as though that whole reality was to crumble or to disappear, there's no knowing left, because there's no subject and object to be apart for one to know the other. Knowing kind of falls apart, then there's just what is. It's immediacy.
So I assume that we are now leaving, stop talking about duality, and let's contemplate, therefore, non-duality. Then what is non-duality?
Nothing. So non-duality is that there's no such thing. There's no such thing as non-duality, because things are part of a dualistic paradigm which isn't real. So essentially, non-duality is nothing. And the suggestion also is that that's all there is, that's everything.
Okay, we bounce back to things. We have things, we have something, we have anything, we have nothing, we have everything. Can a thing be non-dual?
No, because things are separate. Things, the way they're talked about is that they are things, they are separate, they are objectified. So anything that could be a thing has to be, by definition, objectified. So a thought, for example, if it's a thought, it would seem to be a thing that's known by someone. So all things are objects. All objects seem to be referred to by a subject. So there's no such thing as non-duality, because it's not separate, it's not dual.
I love you just said by definition. When we contemplate by definition, so by the finitude, by the drawing a line outside, tracing the outline of a thing, by the definition, a thing is something that is discrete over here, and then it has to be, then also there has to be other things that are not that thing.
Which is existence sticking out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's as though there are things that stick out, and what's exposed is that there is no sticking out really. It's an illusion. So the no sticking out, no existence, just nothing, which is all there is.
Also nice, because existence literally means to stand out.
Yeah.
Very good. Nothing. I like nothing. Let's talk about nothing. What is nothing?
Nothing. Nothing is, there's no thing to pin down with nothing. It's completely elusive. There's no it. It's completely, there's no other word basically that could describe, there's no way of describing nothing, yeah. And that's all there is. It's everything. So there are no things to be nothing. Nothing is not being things. There just is nothing, which is everything.
Is there nothing?
Is there nothing?
Is nothing? Does it exist nothing?
No,
Is it?
There's no thing called nothing to exist. So nothing doesn't stand out when it's everything. If it was limited, conditional, or finite, it would be a thing and it would stand out. So nothing is not stand-outable, it's not existence, it's not existing.
So nothing does not exist.
Right.
Okay.
Nothing exists.
Not.
I mean, these words
It's a
aren't
tricky
really pointing to that, because that's all there is. So the words are nothing to.
Yeah.
The words are nothing to.
Yeah. I have one question I sneak in here very secretly. Don't tell anyone. I read here from my list. What appears to be true?
Well, truth, what is also proposed is that truth and falsity are relative. So truth, in order for there to be something true, it would seem to be related by someone. So truth and falsity are part of a relative reality which is not real. So there's no truth or falsity, and there's no absolute truth or absolute falsity. There just is what is, which is simply unknowable and unobjectifiable.
Is that true?
No.
So right, so usually we talk about so as human persons we keep falling for dualities. We have what is true, what is not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's not true or false. It's not a thing to be related to. These words are not speaking accurately or inaccurately, truly or falsely. They are just words uttering out of nothing.
Yeah, okay, whatever. But what is really true?
Nothing. Yeah. There's nothing to pin down. There's nothing to pin down and say that's concrete, that's real, that's substantial. There's nothing to hold on to. It's just, yeah. So like for something to be true, it would seem to be real. It would seem to be solid and tangible, and there's nothing to be pinned down, as it were.
I have a question about freedom. Then what is freedom? What is true freedom?
Well, freedom is everything, which is nothing. There is only freedom. Freedom, the way it's being talked around, is total. It's boundless. It's unlimited. It can't be confined, constrained, or restricted because it's absolutely everything. So that to say something is freedom is to kind of limit it somehow and condition it. But the freedom that's being talked around is all. It's all there is.
Okay, what I now picked up on is that is without limit.
Yeah.
Without boundary.
Right.
As a human, when I look at freedom, I only see stuff that maybe is a little bit bigger, has a little bit more freedom. Is that the boundary is maybe increased a little bit. The property of my is like just has a bigger boundary, but it still always comes with a boundary.
Sure, that is naturally the way the word freedom is conceived by an experience of separateness. The separate experience lives in and as a reality of conditionality, and so naturally it imagines freedom is a conditioned thing that it could know about, get to, or achieve even. But really that's a conditioned freedom, which is a contradiction of terms.
And limited freedom.
Yeah, which would therefore be not free.
Yeah. What is this really?
So this is another word for nothing and everything. When it's said that it's this, it's immediate. So whatever is appearing to happen is simply this, and it's simply nothing being whatever is happening, whether it's thoughts, ideas, sensation, walking, talking, coffee. It's total. Whatever is this as it is.
But how far is this away?
There's no far or close. Yeah, it's distanceless. It's immediacy.
So distance, right? So there's something over here and has a position, time. There's something else over there. I can have only those things as a person, as a human being that lives within points, boxes, where I can then compare and measure the space between boxes and have distance. That's how it appears to be. I think people would call me crazy if I would say it otherwise, right? Apparently that's how it goes, right? But is that actually how it really is? Distance, is it a thing?
No, it's an illusion. Distance and separation, being the same non-thing, are the illusion. The illusion that there are separate real things that are located in space and are all distant from one another. They are all real and solid and substantial, and they are all distant, and they're all relating somehow to each other. And none of that is real, because all of this is empty. So there's no actual space, there's no actual real localized things that are bouncing off of each other and relating to each other. So there's no here and there, really. That's an illusion.
Yeah, but I have a measurement tape. I can go there and I can measure, and then I see the number on my measurement tape. So
Right.
how I can actually validate the distancelessness of the universe?
Well, it's just this being a measuring tape. It's just this being a room. It's just this being eyes and ears and seeing, hearing, and so on. It's None of it is actually really local in space. It's a dream. The sense of here-ness is a dream.
Dreaming, cool.
And it projects that when it really feels convincingly like there's a real here, it projects that here-ness onto everything. So it feels like the microphone is here and the camera is there, and like those are the walls, and it's like everything is spatial because it projects the here-ness onto everything. It feels like space is an absolute fundamental reality. What is proposed and exposed as it isn't.
Okay, bouncing back duality. I'm a boxed in, separated, boxed in, to be localized here. Therefore, there's other stuff outside of me, there, whatever.
Sure.
And that is how it seems to be. And you just said the word dream. So is what appears to be true, and is that the same thing, the same kind of realness as dream stuff?
Well, the dream is that everything is absolutely real and only real, and that everything is separate, concrete, distant, limited, finite, conditional. Without that dream, there is only what's appearing to happen, which is neither sensed as real or unreal. It just is what is, without anyone knowing about it.
Then dreaming, when I dream,
the way dream is talked about in this particular context is meant as the sense of I am. The sense of individuality, if we could call it that, the sense of being here, and with that sense of here-ness, it's like a felt, located sense, and then these claims appear. I am a person, I'm this kind of person or that kind of person, or the identity. It seems to originate from that sense of a position, a felt, energetic sense of locality. And that's an individualistic dream. That's what's meant by the dream. As though that dream's not happening. This is completely impersonal. It's not happening to anyone.
Oh, so in a universe of duality where there are things boxed in, separated in as things, not only things but also persons. I think when we talk about things, persons are part of all the things. With that comes this separateness, or this me being over here, that's bound up, or maybe it's equal to the sense of I am. Is that what you?
Yeah, that's where the I am seems to originate, for want of a better word. It seems to be feeling like there's a location. And that's a felt, it's visceral. It's like a felt sense that there is a here, and this is where I am. And that's not there really.
That's a here, that is where I am, and that over there, this is not where I am, because of this separation between me over here and there I am not, and there's this implicit the line between.
Sure, yes. And then everything that is distant from me is known by me. It's related to by me. Even a conceptual understanding about the absence of that just becomes another objectifiable thing that I, the dream, relate to. Yeah.
Good. Then how to check that? How can this be investigated? How can that be looked at, checked at? Because when I look at the thing, then it's me, the thing that looks at the thing, but I'm supposed to look at me, but me is over there. So how's that supposed to work?
Many appear to try in the dream to investigate the nature of the dream. And this is where a lot of traditions seem to grow from, is the know thyself, to investigate, to inquire, to practice yogas and tantras. This is where the religions and the traditions and the spirituality and shamanism all seem to stem from, to investigate the nature of the self. And it never finds it because it's not there. The self never finds the self because there isn't actually a self to find, and there isn't a self to disappear. There's not a self to appear and remain, maintain, or sustain. There is no self already. It's an illusion. So the illusion can't disperse itself. It can't make itself go away, and neither would it want to if it was a reality in the first place. It lives in and as a reality of relating So then inquiring just becomes another thing it thinks it's relating to. This is exposing the whole illusory nature of all of that. Well, then there's nothing to do. There's no one to be doing. There's nowhere to go. There just is what is. And then there's no, apparently then, because that suggests time. There's no sense of going anywhere. There's no sense of anyone. There's no sense of anything. There just is what is. It kind of leaves that experience raw in a way, exposed. It's quite a humiliating exposure for that experience, because it seems that appearance of here-ness wants to be validated as a separate individual that is real and can do something and can go somewhere. But this is kind of exposing the illusory nature of all of that. It's not actually a person, and it doesn't have autonomy either.
Okay, good. The suggestion is the I am that I as a person believe I have, who has the I am, whatever, is maybe a scam, is maybe a dream stuff, is maybe an illusion. Now, is there a way that we could debunk the illusion?
Well, there's no process that a dream could go through to make itself wake up from the dream, because as though that dream comes to an end, no one's left to tell the tale. There just is what's happening. So it's kind of an annihilation. The meetings that this holds, seem to point that out, and sometimes it would seem like there's a receptivity to the openness of what's being shared, but it's not for anyone. It's not something that anyone gets, because it's not talking to a dream of ownership and like, you come to my meeting and I give you this. It's not a negotiation. It's not like a practice or a process of any kind. It's not taking anyone anywhere. It's exposing all of that as a dream. And it can seem, although it suggests cause and effect, so it's misleading to talk about it like this, but it can seem like there is an openness, and what's left is what is, without a sense of someone.
I have a feeling that it seems like we want to break out of a prison, and the prison is made out of illusion. And how can we break out of a prison that is not real to begin with?
And exactly, and there's no one in the prison in the first place. So the dream feels like there's someone in prison that could get out of prison, from samsara to nirvana. But what is exposed is that no one is in that. No one is already in the prison. And the door is already open. The door is already wide open, and yet no one's in or out of it. So for that illusion, it doesn't want to disperse itself. It wants a better experience, because it lives in resistance. It lives in a kind of resistant energy so that it can feel and remain separate, and yet there's no one in there. So in the dream, there's me, and I want freedom. I want to own freedom as a thing, enlightenment, or get into the kingdom of God. But it wants that objectively. It wants to relate to that. It wants to know about it. But that keeps it feeling distant. And so it's kind of feeling like there's something lacking, but it wants to not lack. So this is what the word institutionalization means. It's dependent on its sense of separateness, and yet is agitated by it.
And so the project of breaking out of the prison to break out of the prison that is not real with no one inside, and to attain freedom, liberty, enlightenment, that itself, is that part of the dream?
It has to be if it's about attainment, because freedom can't be owned when it's all there is. It's unattainable. So the notion that you, as a separate individual, could attain enlightenment is a fool's errand. You can't get enlightenment when this enlightenment or freedom is absolutely everything. And it's so free, it's so boundless, that it could appear as looking for freedom.
Yeah.
So that's the predicament. It wants to own it, and yet you can't own everything. There's nothing to step outside of everything to own. So that it's hopeless, really. It's wonderfully, wonderfully hopeless.
So then, what is the meaning of being?
Well, it's an ambiguous word, really. Some people use it in relation to consciousness, and others use it as a synonym for everything and nothing. I don't tend to use it so much in the meetings anymore. In a way, I don't mind the term everything. There's just beingness, but of course, it kind of suggests a personal energy. For some, it will have the connotation of personal, like there's someone or something being. So this word is kind of redundant, it would seem.
So it's misleading. It's loaded. Is that what you're saying?
Well, everything to a separate individual will be misleading because there isn't one. And there is no meaning without time, without direction.
Let's think a little bit about thinking. What is the nature of thinking?
Well, it's just an empty appearance like everything else.
We kind of talked about that, but there's a specific question I want to ask. What is the true nature of everything and nothing?
Everything and nothing. It's not true, it's all false. And there is no nature really to that when it's just simply all there is. We could use words like there's just nothing. There's no substance, there's no boundary, there's no edge, there's no border, there's no dimension really. All of that is emptiness. There is only emptiness. And I like the word energy. I would say that this nothing and everything is energy, but that's not tangible. It's not a tangible thing called energy when there is only energy being whatever is happening.
So it seems to appear to be. So then what does neither appear nor disappear?
Nothing. Nothing is really appearing to happen. Nothing is really disappearing to happen. There is only nothing apparently happening, which is all there is. Appearing and disappearing, there's no real coming and going or becoming. There's no real time. There just is immediacy, which is nothing apparently happening.
What is always and forever here and now?
Nothing. And there's no thing called nothing, and there is no here and now without separation. Here and now, there and then, there's neither. There just is what is, which is never not, total immediacy. It's timeless, it's absolutely timeless, and it's absolutely boundless, so there's no space or time really. Those are limited dimensions that aren't actually real or substantial. They're relative.
Time. I'm a human being, a person who walks around. Time seems to be a thing. I have a date of birth. I've been told I will have a date of death.
Right.
So I have flights to catch and whatnot.
Sure.
Time appears to be a very important thing in the life of a human being.
Yes, the storyline of the individual moving through time and having a past, a present, and a future. But there is no real past, present, and future. There is only this. And this is appearing perhaps as memories. This is appearing as thoughts. This is appearing as numbers on a clock. But there is nothing else other than this to be outside of this. And so this is total. So there's no now and then. There's no real birth, life, living, and death. There's no real timeline or continuity. There's no here and there either.
This can't be touched by time.
This can't be touched.
I had something. I lost it.
It's completely elusive. I mean, there's nothing to pin down. There's nothing to hold on to. There's nothing to relate to, grasp. And, although these words may seem conceptual, they might seem intellectual, or they might seem balmy as hell and ridiculous. But there's nothing tangible there. There's nowhere to go with that. It might sound conceptual, but really energetically, it would seem like this is totally all there is. There's no one to relate to that. And conceptual understanding has no value whatsoever. It doesn't need any value. It just is emptiness.
Let's pick up on the boundlessness. it seems to me as a human being, the universe has time, it has space, and it has dimensions. And it supposedly have boundaries. There's a lot of boundaries in my life. There's the border of my skin, the border of my clothes, there's the border of my apartment walls, the city I live in, the country I live in, planet Earth has a boundary, the solar system and whatnot. But then I arrive at the universe, and then the universe is supposed to have a boundary. But what is then outside of the universe? And that's not how it works, because the universe is supposed to mean this, all of it. So can there be something that is boundless?
No, all things would seem to be limited by definition, by nature. All things seem to be limited, conditional, finite, and substantial. Boundlessness is none of that. It's completely incomprehensible, so there's nothing to know that. This doesn't know that. It's just absolutely everything. These words are boundlessness. The listening, if that's appearing to happen, is boundlessness. There is only boundlessness. And if boundedness seems to be happening, that's boundlessness in disguise. So all of those dimensions that would seem to be fundamental and real aren't. They are a dream of separateness. And in that dream, all these dimensions seem to appear here and there, now and then, me and you, cause and effect, solidity, substantiality, but absolutely none of it is real, and it's just completely empty. Everything is empty. And no matter how solid it feels or seems to be, even the solidity, the sense of solidity, is completely and utterly empty. There's nothing to actually hold on to. There's nothing to relate to. There's nothing to know or own or do. And there is no one at all.
Very nice. I push against the wall, and the harder I push against the wall, the really I believe that I and there's something other than me starts to exist. That's how it seems.
Sensation is just emptiness, being a sensation.
We would need to consider the universe as not only boundless, infinite, but we would also need to consider it as a-dimensional without any dimensions.
It's nothing. If it's boundless, it's not a thing. It's nothing.
Okay, maybe this is nice. Nothing can mean the absence. It's an absence. It's non-being, but nothing can also might point at no thing. This is, but it's just not a thing.
Really, language is kind of irrelevant because there's no pinpoint. There's no reference to nothing or no thing. To this, it just seems like there are two ways of saying the same thing, which is nothing apparently happening. Completely unknowable. If all there is nothing, there's no thing to know that there's nothing or no thing. There just is nothing apparently happening, which is absolutely all there is.
And what appears to be happening, is that what is happening, or is that just what appears to be happening, but it's not really happening?
There's just what appears to be happening, which is nothing apparently happening. That's all there is. That's all there is. No one knows it. There's no one to know it. There is nothing else other than nothing. So there just is nothing apparently happening. And what can't be pointed to or pointed out even is that it's so abundantly obvious, but only without the separate sense. Absence, the sense of nothing, that no one sensing nothing, just absence. There's just an abundance and an obviousness to this, but it's not an objectifiable obviousness. So that's frustrating, it would seem, to the separate feeling, like this is real, this is solid, I am real, you're real, we're all real, this is all solid and substantial. But that, without that sense, and it's only in that apparent contrast, which requires a story too, which is empty. But without that sense of separateness, it's so abundantly obvious that there is no one, there is no thing, there There is no where or when. There just is what is, which is neither real or unreal.
How obvious is it?
It's more obvious than obvious. It's closer than close. It's beyond vast. It's completely boundless. Yeah. It's like not even expanded, because there's no limitation to that. It's not even a millimeter away, because there's no close and far. There is just this absolute unconditional totality. It's so freer than free.
Who are you really?
No one. There's no me and you. Yeah. There's no here, there's no me, there's no you, no there, no thing. Being everything.
Very good. I have a very good question that hopefully helps with all the other questions. What answers every question?
All there is nothing apparently happening, which is unconditional love. I mean, we've apparently, we've been sitting here for up to an hour talking a lot about nothing. And all of that might seem quite conceptual and abstract. But what is suggested along with all of that abstraction and the concepts and all that stuff is that this is compassion. It's compassion pointing out that the dream of separateness is not actually a fundamental reality, and that what you, a separate dream, are longing for is to come home to that which is not limited, and therefore you can't get closer to that, you can't get further from that. It's unconditional, therefore it's total, it's absolute, it's everything, and it's not a thing, it's nothing. So the compassion is pointing out and exposing abundantly this is what's longed for, but there just is no real individual to actually to get that or to get close to that. It's already.
Okay, Alexis, thank you so much. Perfect. We close here. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the invite. Yeah, it's fun. Fun for no one.
Yes.
Dankeschön.
Dear friend of philosophy, thank you for joining the Key Philosophy Quest. If you seek more Key Philosophy, visit www.keyphilosophy.com.